Hello and welcome to the Ladies' Room. It is my great pleasure today to welcome my friends, Connie, Baxter, Marlow, and Andrew Cameron Bailey, who have been involved in spirituality for probably the last 45 years, since the 60s, right?
Yeah.
And they have a new book out. Actually, you're visionary filmmakers. You made several films, Connie. Their new book is called The Trust Frequency, and it is Assumptions for a New Paradigm, and it is amazing. It teaches you how to, by just changing your mind, bring your life up into a higher vibration and heaven on earth. So, tell me how you got this idea, you guys.
Well, I, as a teen, actually asked the question, why is humanity out of balance? It was very obvious to me that something was missing from the paradigm, because I have a real belief in humanity, in the human potential. And so I asked this question, and the answers you get depend on the questions you ask.
And who you ask.
Yeah, no, I asked.
Big time.
The universe. I asked the universe.
Okay, you asked the universe.
And I went seeking these missing pieces of the paradigm. Where is there another place or where another culture that thinks differently from us? And I went to Europe looking for it. And in Europe I just found more of the same. And then I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1976 and picked up a book of poetry, of Native American poetry, and there it was. 500 Indian nations have an understanding of the nature of the universe, a beautiful, alive, conscious universe. And I had come from a family of philanthropists in Maine who gave all their money away. And I was like, why did they do that? You know, what were they resonating to? And in the Native way, I found out.
Yeah.
The giveaway. You don't hoard.
Sharing, yeah.
You give it away. There's going to be more tomorrow. It's a trust-based paradigm.
Well, that's law of attraction too. You have to give to get, because
Yeah.
it's a circular thing.
Well, but just, yeah, we don't really do law of attraction. So we do more just trust and give what you have,
It's related,
receive more than you
but
can
it's
fathom.
It's on a different level.
Sure,
It's on a
sure.
different
You're right
level.
up there in the just.
So that's my story. And so
Yeah.
then visionary elders started coming into my life. And I spent 30 years creating forums for them to share their understanding of the nature of the universe. Because really, it's our paradigm. It's our understanding of the nature of the universe that has us out of balance, simply. That's all it is. All this greed and hoarding and
I was
fear
just gonna say that
all that
greed.
stuff, it's
Yeah.
just a natural outgrowth of the logical mind operating on misinformation about the nature of the universe. You know, Jesus said it in the Sermon on the Mount. Look at the lilies in the field, they toil not. You know? So we're just...
And loaves and fishes. Every
Loaves
time
and
he
fishes.
reached into the bag, there was another fish.
Yeah.
I'm on the total loaves and fishes program right now. I told you that a couple of years ago.
We all are.
Yeah,
We're being
because of
forced
the
to, because
economy,
it's
you just
collapsing.
have to believe. And when we were children, everything came to us. Why would it be
Exactly.
any different now?
So that's
would
my
be any
story,
different?
and Andrew has a...
Andrew, you were born in London but raised in South Africa.
I was born in
and-
Coventry, England, which was
Yeah.
the most destroyed city in England during World War
Oh,
II.
my.
I was born in 1943, right in the middle of a big mess. So my family moved to South Africa in
That's so
47, and I got to grow up with monkeys and bananas and great surf in the Indian Ocean, yeah. And then sailed over here and came to America in 1969. And I'd met a guy who comes here to East Hampton quite a lot, Ralph Abraham. He's actually a mathematician from Santa Cruz, California. I'd met him in London on my farewell dinner with my London friends, and I was sailing across the Atlantic the next day, and I meet this guy in this restaurant, and he's from Santa Cruz, and he says, come to UC Santa Cruz, and I did. And when I landed here, I knew one person on this continent, of all of the Americas, one guy, Ralph Abraham.
Who's
So-
in our film,
Takes
In
one.
Search of the Future.
Who's
Our
in-
I was
who's-
just
we
going
have
to
in the
mention
film?
In Search
Yeah.
of the Future, because you hung out a lot with Bush people. And,
Yeah,
and
but hang on. Let me
Okay.
just finish that, because Ralph's an
Okay.
important link.
Okay.
Because I was hitchhiking north to Santa Cruz to see Ralph, this guy I'd met very briefly in this restaurant, gave me his contact info, and I'm hitching north, and I get picked up by a guy who says, I'm going all the way to Santa Cruz. I was in Santa Barbara.
Excellent.
And he says, but I've got to make a quick stop along the way. And I'm like, I've got all the time in the world. So the stop turns out to be Esalen. He went and stopped at the Esalen Institute on the cliffs of Big Sur. And he says, by the way, why are you going to
You
Santa
must have been blown away.
He says, why are you going to Santa Cruz? I said, well, I met this guy in London. His name's Ralph Abraham. He said, ha, Ralph Abraham's my business partner. So it just
there
so
are
that
no
sort of-
accidents,
that
right?
sort of synchronicity. And I'd left
Yes.
South Africa on a quest. I was looking for something called cosmic consciousness that I'd read about in like Time magazine, Life magazine. It was a buzzword of the 60s. This is 1969. Cosmic consciousness, and something told me it's in Northern California. So I head for Northern California, and I get dropped at Esalen. I get dropped right in the heart of it. Ralph Abraham was where people like Ralph Metzner and Ram Dass's car, who
Was
was
the
Richard
big
Alpert at the time.
hangout.
Ram Dass's
Yeah.
car was parked in Ralph's driveway
I knew
because
when
he was in
Richard
it.
Alpert.
I know. So, yeah, and it's amazing we didn't meet back then because you were in
I
Marin,
went
I
to
think.
Esalen.
So anyway, that's where it started for me, and then the question became, as much like the question Connie just posed. What's wrong? What's
Yeah.
missing in the paradigm? The way I phrased it was, what's it going to take? What is it going to take to, this was during Vietnam, Nixon was in the White House, Reagan was the governor of California, and life was kind of scary for many people. Vietnam was in full swing. And what's it going to take to bring our species? The human potential is
We
incredible.
were all so idealistic, weren't we?
But we knew something.
And still are.
Yeah, we
know
yeah,
something.
We knew something. We just knew something that wasn't known by the vast mass of humanity, namely that there's a higher way of doing it, a higher vibration. So the title of this book is The Trust Frequency. And that's not a science term. It's more like the vibration, the vibe factor. In those days, we all knew what a higher vibe was and a lower vibe. And we're talking about how to get your vibrations to a higher level.
It really has to do with your belief system.
It is your belief system.
It is your belief
It
system.
is.
People
That's it.
are so steeped in fear, and the media and the governments really want us to be fearful because that's control. The churches, the governments keep everybody in fear, and you control the masses. And you're saying, trust in the universe. The universe is a loving universe, and it's us. We're it. It's all, we're living through it.
really
and
are
it's
no-
all
In fact,
vibration.
all of they are in fact a manifestation of us. So there's not a they, it's our own thinking that has created them. And all we have to do is shift our thinking. And you know, the USSR collapsed. The Berlin Wall went down. I'll tell
Apartheid
you,
went
we are
away.
making
Apartheid
a
went
lot of
away.
These things that we
progress.
There's
thought-
magic,
Yeah.
something much huger than all of us, if we can just pierce through the illusion that that has power, that all of these systems and all this stuff has power, because it doesn't. It just only has the power we give it. Okay?
Only has
Yeah.
the power.
So
that
we give the 7 A's, which we define consciousness, because we say one of our assumptions is you define your reality by the power of your
You
consciousness.
create your reality
create it.
through the power of your
Yeah,
consciousness.
you create it. So
But
we
then the
define
question is,
consciousness.
You are what you
But
think.
then what is consciousness? Because, you know, scientists and psychologists and so on, they can't
That's
answer
where
that
quantum
question.
physics is getting a little
Yeah,
close,
that's
right?
But there's this real question of how do you define consciousness? You go to the dictionary, it says it's awareness. Okay, got it, awareness. Starts with A. We started finding words that were parts of, what facets of consciousness are there? Awareness begins with A, and Connie just mentioned the 7 A's.
I like the 7
The
A's. It's
7
way
A's.
better than the 7 deadly sins.
Although the 7 deadly sins can be right.
Those can be fun.
But the 7 A's. The
So the 7
seven's
A's
a-
are part of this is a really sort of a handbook. And the 7 A's, once we can look into the mirror of our own consciousness and say, okay, awareness, you're either aware of something, you're not, you're either awake or you're
to
asleep.
be present.
Right. But then there are the others like attitude, assumption,
So-
attention,
Yeah.
Action.
big one, action.
You know, action
As
is the
you-
key, because we have to act according
Right.
to
Once you get the right
this.
attitude.
Once we trust our inner knowing and we understand we are loved by a conscious universe, we have to act accordingly. And that's the kicker, because there's so much out there saying, no, you can't do it. You'll fail, you'll
Yeah.
you know, you
So
can't
the
do it.
fear comes in again.
Yeah, and the fear, because the consensus reality is one way. What we're saying is that we have the ability to shift our reality regardless of what the consensus reality is. I mean, you know people who live magical lives. right? I mean, that just everything seems to fall into place for them and everything, you know? So
There's
an
always
individual-
going to be challenges, but you can't give them power. You have to just pay attention.
The challenges are
Adjust your attitude and
yeah.
figure out, and if you go inside, it will come to you how to handle it, and it is a growth opportunity always.
Absolutely, it's only
If
love. That's
everything-
assumption number
if
one.
everything went right in your life all the time, you would never grow.
Right. The challenges are the signposts.
Yep.
They're the places where you
The
make
universe
decisions.
steering you in different directions.
Am I going to go this way? Am I going to go this way? Am I going to do it out of fear or in trust? So the difference between the fear frequency and the trust frequency is exactly what we're talking about.
Would you say that everything's not going to go right, but it is going right?
It is. It's the
Absolutely.
universe's way of
Everything
saying,
is right.
no, this is not your path.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to find a different way. And instead of forcing it and saying, "What? But I wanted this,"
Exactly.
you have to sit back and say, "Okay, now what's it trying to tell me? What's the
We
universe
say
trying to tell me
circumstance
here?"
loves you more than you do.
We use the word
Interesting,
we use the
that's
word
interesting.
circumstance for that. You see, where you think you're doing this, and circumstance comes, pow, and redirects you, and you go, "Thank
And
you."
people get stuck on their ideas, like even if
course
there's
they
a
do.
job they want and they
Yeah.
don't get it and they get so upset and they don't realize that the phone could ring tomorrow and it could be a better
it's
job.
the universe saying,
And
hey,
if you weren't
you've got
home
something
to
better
answer the
do.
phone because you were at this dumb other job, you wouldn't have been in
Right.
the right place at the right
Just
time.
got to go with the flow.
Yeah.
Got to ride those
Trust
waves.
the loving universe is what we say.
We love the water, don't we? Don't we love riding those waves?
So back to the 7 A's. The sixth one, I think, or the fifth one is alignment. So you take actions in awareness, with the attention, with the right assumptions, etc., in alignment with something. Now, you can be aligning yourself with a whole fear-based reality, and that's an option. It's all free. We're all free. It's free will, nothing but. But once you're aligned with a higher vibration, your actions bring success. And finally, let go. Allow.
Let go.
The final A is allow. Trust completely. Don't have to control. Let it be.
And the
Is it-
definition of success, that has baggage because success looks like money, winning, lots of stuff, whatever. Success ultimately is in you on your journey to wholeness, you to your gift. We define humanity as a collection of individuals who have chosen to incarnate on earth with a purpose and a gift on the soul's journey to wholeness. So you've come with a gift and you've forgotten that gift.
You're unique. You're
Yeah,
unique.
unique gift. And we've incarnated into this reality where when we were little babies, if we wanted to survive, that's our job, is to survive. We look around and we see the rules of the game and we darn well show up for the rules of the game, and we know we're not
to
going to
adjust.
survive.
Have to adjust when you think
And
about
we
it. When a
negate-
baby's born, it's pure love.
Yeah.
That is
right.
it. That's all that baby knows. And then the parents start putting the walls around out of fear to protect the
That's right,
child, and
that's
don't
right,
do this, don't do
that's
that.
right.
If
So
you
they
touch
fit
that,
in.
you'll get burned. If you
Right.
walk in the rain, you'll get a cold.
Right.
And we're like,
And
it's
if you don't
like,
show
no,
up for the
no,
right
no,
preschool,
no.
you don't show up
Don't
for the
play
right
in the
preschool,
freeway.
When
you're
it
gonna-
should be, it doesn't even have to be yes. It can be, well, why walk in the rain when, look, we can be inside making art.
Or go play in the
they
rain,
don't-
have
you
a
don't
good
have to be a
time.
negative parent. You can just show
Right.
children another way,
Right.
another alternative.
What's wrong with
As a
playing in
kid,
the rain?
growing up in Africa, some of my most fun was when it was pouring with rain and these little rivers would start, and you'd run down, you little guys, and you get stones and build dams, and I still remember playing in the rain because it was warm rain anyway.
Yeah. Alternatives. Is alternatives one of your A's?
No, because these are aspects of consciousness, you see. One's consciousness is comprised of various facets or aspects. Some of them are passive, like awareness. It's just, I'm aware of you. That's kind of a passive thing. One's attention, that's active. I'm going to put my attention on you.
We have to pay
Yeah.
attention.
And where,
Yeah.
you're going to put your attention on the newspapers and all the horrible things that are going on? Or are you going to put your attention on the human potential and what you know we can be in your heart of hearts and what you want us to be for your children's sake, for your sake, for the beauty of what you know it can be? Put your attention there.
Yeah.
That empowers it and creates that, whereas putting your attention on the the horrible stuff just empowers that.
But the big question then, we're talking about this really high vibe, highfalutin stuff, right? And to many people, they might think, oh, that's just some sort of pie in the sky dream, some fantasy. So, is this, and I know that you don't see that, but I imagine an awful lot of people do. Oh,
those hippy-dippy people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But others, hey, I live in the real world. But the real world the real world is a result of our thinking, and we can change the nature of the real world by changing the nature of our thoughts. It's like your computer. Your computer it sort of works, but it's kind of sluggish. And what do you do when your computer's slowing down? You upgrade the operating system. So we can upgrade the human operating system. What operating system does humanity run on? It's basically our thoughts. What are the contents of our thoughts? It's our assumptions. It's our beliefs, our worldview, how we perceive the world. And most of that comes to us as little kids before we're 3 or 5 or 7 years old.
Collective consciousness.
We've
it's
received,
just an agreement of
but
all
as a
the
kid,
human beings on the planet.
Right, but as a child, it's not even an agreement because it's kind of imposed on you.
It's imposed
you see,
on us,
it's not intentional. You just take it on because Daddy says
Because
so or your culture says so.
we think it's reality when
Right.
actually reality is all an illusion.
Exactly.
It's all a dream within a dream within a dream.
That's
That's
right.
our movie.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think people, if they could understand that human beings are like projectors and this cosmic energy, this beautiful universe comes through us and we project it outwards.
Perfect.
And once it's out here, it's already in the past. So if you get attached to things like, no, I can't let go of this water, you're plugging up, or a relationship, I can't live without him. If you get attached to things, all the new beauty cannot come through you. You're blocking up your energy. And every cosmic consciousness book you read says, let go, let go. And I used to read them, I'd be in my 20s, and I'd say, every book I'd say, that's it, that's what I have to let go of. Well, it turns out you have to let go of everything.
Yeah.
You just have to let it flow through you and think the right thoughts, have the right vision, because then you are creating your movie and you
Right.
create your reality.
And we say it's because everything is love. And the conscious, loving universe has to give us everything we ask for. That's
Yes.
its nature.
Yes.
It gives us everything we ask for. So that's how what we think becomes what we experience. Out of love, everything. And the soul's journey to wholeness, the circumstance brings us situations that don't feel so good, because we want to go here and it's taking us there, and we've also agreed to cleanse and go to a higher level. And this cleansing process, the Hopi call it the great purification. This cleansing process, this testing: are you really in trust? Are you really aligned with what you say you are?
How do they do this cleansing process? How do they?
Well, how do the Hopi?
Yeah.
Well, no, they say that what's going on the planet. The
There's a
storms,
planetary
the
cleansing.
tornadoes, the
They
hurricanes.
predict the coming of the fifth world. They say that the whole thing is shifting from the fourth world into the fifth world, and
It is
in order to
shifting.
get there, it takes this purification. That's
And
the
each
first
of
step,
us.
which in a sense is the collapse. We're seeing a collapse going on.
Well, I think we're
Yeah.
hopefully seeing a collapse of the corporate structure and everything. And it's very, very interesting how planet Earth, Mother Earth, is so conscious, of course. It's a
course.
conscious, living, breathing entity, a
Loving.
lot bigger than us.
Yeah, she is.
But
Loving.
remember that loving oil spill in Louisiana. Algae grew in the ocean that ate the ocean, that ate the oil.
ate the oil, yeah.
So the planet has a self-correcting mechanism. Thank you, God, and it is really flushing out the bad stuff.
Yeah,
It is.
and we think that what was good, and we're so sad to see it go, but it hasn't served the human heart and the human spirit. Before it was collapsing, it just looked like it because we had money in our pockets, but we weren't serving our kids, putting them in a system that was training us to be little cogs in the wheel of consumerism. You know, it hasn't been okay. And now the wheels are off and something new can be born. And
Yeah.
we're bringing the indigenous way of knowing and way of seeing into this understanding of the nature of the universe, because they see everything as sacred.
Well,
Everything is alive.
Your movie is
Everything
very
is
interesting.
conscious. Right. The movie
you
was
interview
sort of a
so
precursor.
many very interesting people, and there's a lot of incredibly wonderful quotes in
And the
here.
quotes come from the indigenous, from
Yes.
science, from Thoreau and Emerson, the American transcendentalists. They come from rock and roll
And
lyrics,
you say,
know?
like, finally science is catching up to what the mystics and visionaries knew thousands of years ago, right?
Exactly.
Right, so that brings the
Finally,
Western mind.
science and- yeah.
So we can have a synthesis and
Yeah,
create
Eastern
something new that's
philosophy
never.
and Western science is fine, because they don't have answers when they, quantum physics, they're like, what? Because every little cell, it's like every drop of the ocean has the whole ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Every cell in our body has our whole DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that with everything else. That runs right through.
Absolutely, and
So
we're saying that
interesting.
something new is being created, something that's never been on the planet before, because now humanity is completely connected with the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
We've never been in this
Think of
position
the
before.
internet as the mind of God, right? You
Yeah,
get
the
and
global-
we're all
information
feeding
out
into
there.
it.
global
We're
brain.
all
Yeah,
part
the global
of it.
brain.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's phenomenal. So this is a unique time in the history of humanity that we can bring that love in our hearts together with all love all around the planet, and just boom, blow it to smithereens.
Yeah,
and
if
bring-
everybody, when they have these planetary moments of silence or moments of prayer or Earth Day, when they align like everyone all around the planet, it does shift everything up a notch.
And they've done scientific
Yeah.
experiments that prove that.
Yep.
IONS, Institute of Noetic Sciences, is studying specifically things like that and seeing these actual spikes in everything from like crime rates to, there's a certain vibratory thing that's been measured like right around 9/11, this thing spiked before it. So even like something's coming and there's a response already before the event happens. It's very interesting. It's way
Wow,
bigger
look
than
at that
we...
tsunami in Thailand. All the animals got to higher
Well,
ground
the animals
before it
know,
happened.
yeah. You see, we
Yeah.
forgot. The animals know, so
Oh, yeah.
follow your dog.
Everything's
Your
in
dog's-
tune, but humans, because we think we can figure it all
And
out.
why? Because we've based our reality on a set of assumptions.
Yeah.
Because the paradigm, you know what a
Yeah.
paradigm is, it's simply a set of assumptions. What's an assumption? It's a belief that we don't question. It's an unquestioned, unexamined belief. Can we change that? Well, question and examine your beliefs, look inside and say, well, what do I believe? So the book actually proposes 10 suggested alternative beliefs.
And it's got a toolkit to help
It's a
you
toolkit,
get there,
right,
and,
right.
and wonderful
So
meditations.
one, for example...
And such charming stories in the end of the book.
Thank you. So just the first assumption is that we live in a conscious, loving universe, which is so different from the universe we were taught in school, in science. Oh, the universe is some clockwork mechanism. It's not conscious, not alive, doesn't even know you exist. Very different reality. When you live in a conscious, loving universe, you're totally surrounded and loved and supported versus this cold, lifeless thing. It's a very different reality.
All of creation is
beautiful
awaiting the
reality.
gift you promised to bring to the party.
Yeah.
There's a party going on. We're all invited. We're just not there because we're on a different frequency. And see, one thing we're bringing with this trust frequency idea is that every frequency has its own set of laws. So we incarnated into a frequency where there's a certain set of laws. If you don't work, you die. You starve to death. Well, there's a higher frequency where there's total abundance, and we can get there if we know that it exists. And Jesus describes it, John Lennon describes it. Just read, imagine.
Yeah.
That is the true nature of the
Just
universe.
think about imagine. It's a,
You know,
it's a
Yes,
roadmap
and
to
all you
everything
have to
we're
do
talking
is
about.
change your mind.
Yoda
And it's
in
the only,
Star
and it's the only
Wars.
thing you can change. I can't
The
change you.
only
You
thing
can't
we
change
really
me.
have control
All I can
of,
change
right, is our own mind.
Yeah, that's right.
And we don't even have control of that all the time because it's like, oh my God, I got to do this, I
Yeah.
got to do that. You got to calm yourself down. You got to get into breathing. You got to center, and you got to say, okay,
That's what we call
I
the
want to live in
conditions.
heaven on earth, and I'm just going to imagine that I do.
Right. The
And you open your eyes and you look around, and you have everything you need.
So the conditioned
You do.
mind is the mind that is completely has been taken over by this current paradigm, this set of assumptions that the consensus reality is based on. We liberate our conditioned mind by changing our assumptions. Our mind changes, and interestingly, when the inside changes, the outside changes.
Yeah, Wallace Black Elk says we're prisoners of our own minds. So the only thing we can do to liberate ourselves is to walk out the door of that prison into another reality, another set of assumptions, which we have the total free will to
Total
do.
free will. All you have
As
to do is choose
As
it.
Bob Marley says, free yourself from mental slavery.
So where people can get this book on Amazon? You can
there's
download it on
you can
iPad?
get ebooks, yeah, you can get all of the ebook formats for Kindle, for iPad, for Nook, all of those. The best thing to do is to go to the trustfrequency.net, which is our website.
Oh, the website, and it's coming up.
You simply go to the
on the
trustfrequency.net,
screen.
and there are instructions there as to where to find the book. You can
And
also
all of your events.
you could also just go to
You guys speak at a
Amazon.com.
lot of events.
Right. So there's a calendar in the website that'll
Great.
tell you what's up. And
trustfrequency.com.
there's more to what we're doing than the book. The book is one major facet of the book, and as it's brand new. By the way, we published this book on December 21st, 2012. I'm so pleased that we actually got to get the book done for that publication date, because you know what that date is.
The end of the Mayan calendar, the beginning of the new world.
So that was
We
the
are-
end of the old
we are
and the
out of
beginning of the
time.
new.
Yeah, well, one thing
But
I wanted
this
to say
one's
is
yeah.
that when you get the book from us on our website, you get a copy of our film for free.
Oh, excellent. So
And
people should
Canio's
really get it
books
from
is
your
And
website.
Canio's right here, Canio's carries it.
Canio's
so you
has
can
it.
walk into Canio's, get the book, which would be great because they'll love that.
And the film is included when you get it at Canio's as well. If you go on Amazon, you don't get the film.
Okay, and the film is great.
And the film is great and totally complimentary. It's the native people, it's Ralph Abraham, it's various visionaries speaking.
Oh, lights went off.
Wow.
Oh, I guess they're shutting us down.
Well,
Thank you for joining the ladies' room, and remember, ladies, give yourself lots of room. Room for love, room for fun, room to grow, and room to glow. And this book will help you grow real fast.
and glow.
Real fast, and glow. And glow.
Thanks,
Definitely.
Amy.
Thank you so much. What fun.
I look into the sky.